I told you that you can live in Dallas with your mortgage almost completely paid off and you can slowly build a real estate portfolio at the exact same time? Right now, I'm not talking about any get rich quick scheming program or some cookie cutter stuff. I'm talking about an everyday people right now. They're utilizing this method in DFW. It's gonna help cut their housing costs down, build equity, build generational wealth, and this all while living in the property at the same time. Right now, we're gonna be talking about house hacking. And whether you're a college student or a young professor or a seasoned investor, there is a version of this strategy that works for absolutely everyone. I'm Casey, this is the Dallas Blueprint, and today I'm breaking down 5 house hacking methods in DFW, including the tax advantages, the mortgage benefits, and the strategy for the long-term exits that can literally save you tens of thousands of dollars. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're gonna thank me later, and you're gonna see that buying a home in Dallas is gonna be completely different of what you're thinking. Okay, let's start with the basics. House hacking strategy of purchasing a property and then living part of it. Real estate investors have been doing this for decades. And here in DFW, the market is very competitive. So home prices have climbed significantly over the last few years, and house hacking has been one of the smartest ways for entry points for both first-time buyers and experienced investors like myself. And here, what makes it even more powerful in Texas is the financial advantages of owner-occupying property that are very serious. We're talking cheaper insurance rates, cheaper property taxes because of homestead exemptions, lower mortgage interest rates because you're financing it as a primary residence instead of an investment property. We're gonna go through all of that. So first though, I wanna talk to you about these 5 ways that you can start in DFW right now. All right, strategy number 1, this is the college house hack. It's actually what I did back in 2017. This one's for the students or the parents who have kids going to UTD, UNT, TCU, SMU, or any of those DFW area universities. So instead of paying rent or covering your kids' apartment cost, you are gonna be buying a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom, just say primary residence, so you can do townhomes, single family, whatever you would do. And your child's gonna live in one of those and you're gonna rent the remaining rooms out. So 2 or 3 bedrooms would be rented out, you live in one of those. In Denton, near UNT, you can still find homes around $220,000 to $280,000 range. And at today's primary rates on today's interest loans, that's going to be walking you around, let's just say $1,600 to about $1,900 a month. You rent out 2 or 3 of those to all these students, like your friends, your classmates, whatever it is, and suddenly your kid or yourself basically living there for almost nothing while building equity the entire time. Fast forward 4 years later, when you're ready to graduate, you got a cash flowing property that's potentially bringing in about $30,000 to $50,000 in equity from that appreciation over those few years in a market that's one of the fastest growing in this entire state. Strategy number 2, the young adult roommate house hack. This one is for the, let's just say 21 to the young 30-year-olds who are tired of throwing away money at an apartment rent each and every month. So this one, similar situation. You buy a home in the Dallas suburbs, let's just think McKinney, Frisco, Plano, where people work, right? Even parts of Fort Worth, whatever you want to do, and you bring in 1 or 2 roommates to help cover the mortgage. Here, it's the reality. You average a 1-bedroom apartment in Dallas running to $1,200 to $2,100 a month right now. So instead of paying that, you buy a 3-bedroom to 4-bedroom home and you charge about $800 each. And that brings in about $1,600 to $2,400 a month every single month. So your mortgage could be $2,000 to $2,800 every single month, depending on your down payment. And you're essentially living there for like $400 to $1,200 a month. And every single month, your tenants are paying you the mortgage payments, right? So you're slowly paying off while building equity. And that right there is creating wealth slowly in the background while you get to sleep with your homies every single night. Before we get into the next 3 strategies, I want to stop right here. I want to talk about why house hacking in Texas is especially powerful, because the numbers are generally stacked in your favor. So advantage number 1, homestead exemptions. We talked about this in the last few videos, but in Texas, for a property as a primary residence, you can qualify as a homestead exemption. Right now, that reduces the taxable value of your home by $140,000 for your school district taxes, and it caps your appreciating tax value 10%. That 10% cap is massive in a market like DFW where values have been climbing super fast. Your neighbor who owns that property as a pure investment, they have no cap. Like, their taxes are gonna spike every single year while yours is protected because of that homestead exemption. the advantage number two, so the second advantage is owner-occupied properties carry significantly lower insurance premiums than investment properties. Basically, lenders and insurers view your home where the owner lives in it as a lower risk, which translates directly towards those monthly insurance payments. Basically, let's just say you can save around maybe $100 to $125 every single month if you go ahead and purchase it as a primary versus a investment property. Lastly, advantage number three, primary resident mortgage rates are typically 0.5% to 0.75% lower than if you were to buy that as an investment property. On a $350,000 loan, you're saving roughly $125 to $150 a month, or basically $1,500 to $1,800 a year. Over 5 years, you're talking about 9 racks of just savings with those rate differences alone. So when you house hack as an owner occupier, you're getting the best insurance rate, the best tax protection, and the best mortgage rate, all while having the tenant help you pay the bill. That math is actually mathing for you. All right, jumping back into strategies, right? Strategy number three, we're buying a duplex and renting out that other side. This is where house hacking really starts to feel like a real investment. A duplex is 2-unit property. You have 1 unit on one side and 1 unit on the other side. Separate living spaces. Usually they're like side by side, stacked, and hopefully your backyard has that privacy fence, I like to call it, where you live in one of them and you rent out the other. In DFW, duplexes you can still find around $350,000 to $500,000 depending on, let's just say, the specific areas. So parts of like Northeast Dallas, around the Arlington area, or even Fort Worth's like southern side, these markets are stacked with duplex demand. And here's how the numbers can work. If you purchase a duplex at $320,000 with an FHA loan, that's about 3.5% down, right? Depending on what you want to do, but the lowest is 3.5% down. Your mortgage is around $2,100 a month. So you have $2,100 fully. You can rent out the other half, $1,200 to $1,400, and now you're literally living in your entire property for $700 to $900, and you own that. Completely own it, which is crazy. And here's the kicker, all right? If you're ready to move out of at least a year, you can rent out both ends, right? $1,200 to $1,400. $1,200 to $1,400, and now you have a full cash flowing duplex. Both sides rented, straight passive income, built on a primary residence loan with the primary residence rates, and that right there is what I like to call the duplex play. Strategy number four, and this is where house hacking is really known for, it's called the Quadplex, where basically you have a Quadplex, 4 units, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You live in one of those units and you rent out the other 3, okay? So FHA financing approved this, where you can put down 3.5% and still live in one of them, and then rent out the other 3. And as long as you're an owner-occupying residence, it's legal, completely legal. So in markets like Fort Worth, Waco, or even some pockets like South Dallas or Bishop Arts, you can still find these Quadplex properties, $500,000 all the way up to around $650,000 range. So let's just break down the math again. Big math guy, right? So if you rent out 3 of the units at $900 to $1,100 each, let you gross around rental income $2,700 to $3,300 a month, right? And if you put down 3.5%, around a $500,000 complex, your monthly mortgage is like floating around $3,400 to $3,500. So you're literally living in this thing completely free or pretty close to it, right? And this strategy is serious for investors who like to launch their portfolio without massive capital. So it's 1 property, 4 units with 1 primary residence, all working for you. Lastly, strategy number 5, buying a home with an ADU living in the back. So an ADU, we call this an accessory dwelling unit, okay? And it's a secondary structure that's in the backyard. So let's just think of a converted garage, a backyard cottage, or something we like to call a casita, okay? Casita. So this strategy is gaining serious traction right now in DFW. So basically you can buy that main house with that ADU in the back, and then you rent out the main home, right? The entire main home while you're living in the ADU. So you rent out the main home for $1,800 to $2,400 a month, and your rental income basically completely wipes away your mortgage. And the property that you're living in, which means the entire lot can still qualify as a primary residence since you're living there, right? The lifestyle is surprisingly decent because it's a private space, lower cost of living, and it's a built-in stream of revenue. Let's talk about the exit strategy, because this is where house hacking goes from smart to stupid smart, okay? And the IRS rule most people don't know about is if you live in a property that's a primary residence for 2 out of the last 5 years before you sell, you can exclude capital gains taxes from $250,000 as a solo resident or up to $500,000 as a married resident, right? So let's let that sink in. If you buy a duplex today, you live in it for 2 years, which appreciates in DFW, let's just say on an annual basis of 4 to 6%. You can actually sell that in year 4 or 5 and potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit is completely tax-free. It's not a loophole. This is a tax code working exactly designed for rewarding people who invest in their communities, and they've been doing this for decades and decades. And so it's my job right now to try to teach you guys what these loopholes are and these tax codes, so that way you can take advantage of them just like other people have been doing that. So that strategy that we're talking about, it looks like this. You buy the property, you live in it for 2 years while your tenant pays some of the mortgage, you move out of the property, you rent it out another 2 to 3 years, letting that market slowly appreciate on that property, and then you sell it at a massive tax advantage. All those gains completely tax-free, and then rinse and repeat, and then that's exactly how you continuously build a real estate portfolio. And here's why DFW specifically is one of the best markets in the country right now. And to do that execution is completely wild, because if you think about it, man, DFW is growing at about 150 to 200,000 people every single year. The job growth across tech, healthcare, finance, and logistics continues to drive demand for the housing. Rental vacancy remains historically low across the entire DFW Metroplex, meaning your units stay completely filled. So a lot of people will be like, oh, have 12% vacancy? No. In DFW, you're looking about 8 to 10%. That extra 2 to 4% continuously adds up over years and years and years. And math nerds like me know that that's more money in your pocket. So if you're talking about renting out properties in the Frisco, McKinney, and Prosper, man, these are the fastest growing cities in America. And pair that with Fort Worth near North Side and South Side neighborhoods, you're seeing significant appreciation as buyers get priced out of Dallas proper. And the Texas zero state income tax environment continues to attract relocations, which means more workers, more renters, and more rental demand. So the fundamentals here, they're strong. And if you're trying to do something like a house hacking method, these strong fundamentals mean that your tenant pool is deep and your appreciation is real and your exit is powerful. I want to close with something that goes beyond the numbers for a second. I genuinely believe that house hacking isn't just a real estate strategy, it's discipline. And it's a decision to sacrifice that little comfort today that you can give you freedom for tomorrow, okay? Every single person that I've worked with who took this first step, found the duplex, found the tenants, found the quadplex, whatever it might be, they all wish that they had done it sooner. So you don't have to figure it out, you just have to take that first step. And if you need someone in your corner who's gonna be in this market, know the numbers, find your rental comps, find the strategies, I'm here for you, okay? I started this back in 2017, and I wish I had an agent who was investor friendly like myself, because I would have avoided a few bumps in the road. And so that's what I'm here for you, serving in the DFW market. If this video helped you, please subscribe to the Dallas Blueprint. There's new content every single week about buying, selling, and investing in the North Texas area. Drop the questions in the comments. I read literally every single one of them. I like every single comment, and I'm here to help you out find your new investment portfolio, okay? Let's build this thing one by one. Thanks and God bless.